right, let's begin with our top story today. So, how you and I pay for medical treatments at hospitals has changed dramatically starting 24th of Jan 2024. We do not need to pay cash at hospitals at all. That's if you're insured, however. Single-handedly, this has been the most impactful, or at least said to be the most impactful medical reform we have seen in a while. Meaning that, remember those last-minute arrangements that you had to make for cash, call relatives, run to ATM before you have a surgery lined up or an emergency coming up? All those days could now be behind us, since this cashless payment has come into being. Now, this also means, this is also, remember, very much in line with how the Western world deals with insurance. The government surely did this with in mind that they want to have more and more people take up insurance schemes and ensure that they are, their health benefits are taken into account. There are schemes in the government sector, there are schemes in the private sector as well. But if you have an insurance, you don't need to pay a penny. However, since this scheme has come into the fray, there has been a lot of confusion about a particular 48-hour window. How do you inform the hospital? How do you ensure that if there is an emergency, how do they know that this is going to be cashless? So we thought we'll sort of bring you an explainer and a reality check of sorts on what to do in case you are in this situation. All right. And with me in this conversation is Yash today. Good morning, Yash. How are you doing?
A very good morning, Sona. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I've had my coffee, so I'm good to go and chat up with everybody who's watching us right now. But, firstly, I want to start. This is set to be a game changer, right? So in line with how things are managed abroad as well, how the Western world, the more developed part of the world, also sort of looks at insurance. The key here again then is to remember that 48-hour window. Can you firstly tell us why it is so critical? And I think the question that everybody really wants to ask right now is, what happens in case of an emergency? Say there has been an emergency at home. I don't have time to call up my agent at that time. So what does one do?
So absolutely. This is actually a very valid question when it comes to the 48-hour window. So there are two situations. In case if it's a treatment which is actually suggested by a doctor, or it's a planned treatment or a planned surgery, then what you have to do is you just need to call up your agent, and that agent and the company should be informed within 48 hours or at least 48 hours before your treatment begins. And in case, like you rightly mentioned, if there's some sort of an emergency which comes up, then what you have to do is you don't need to worry. You just go to the hospital, you get your treatment, and once you are admitted, then within 48 hours you need to call up your insurance company and tell them that this thing has happened and I'm in the hospital and you have to take care of my bills. And in fact, that is how it's done. So you don't need to worry that you have to actually, in cases of emergency, you don't need to actually panic. You have a 48-hour window once you're admitted to the hospital to inform your insurance company.
So generally also, if there's an emergency in a hospital, you are just rolled in. They ask for paperwork a little later, at least that's the norm. We are hoping that's what most of the hospitals are doing. But I have to say this, that, TPA formalities at hospitals are the most painful. Absolutely. You are done with anyways, a surgery or a medical procedure. Being in hospitals is anyway such a painful process. And then you sit for hours and hours clearing out your TPA, even when it is cashless. So how does that change this time around? Or again, we'll have to sit down, we'll have to wait. Does that waiting period end now, that really troubling waiting period?
So absolutely, it actually ends now. The reason why I say that, earlier what used to happen was, if your insurance company has around, I'm just giving an example, if they have around 3,000 to 4,000 hospital in their panel, so there only you can avail that cashless service. Now what the GIC or the General Insurance Council has done, irrespective of insurance company having a network with that particular hospital or not, you will get that particular service. You don't need to actually, because that is now a task between the hospital and the insurance company. You just need to inform your insurance company 48 hours prior in case if it's a planned surgery or a planned treatment, and 48 hours within admission time if it's an emergency. So now you don't have to actually go through that entire TPA process. Your agent needs to know, and in case if you have bought it via via internet or via third-party app, you just need to put across an email. That's it, nothing else.
So basically you're saying keep your insurance agent's number handy.
It should be on your speed dial.
It should be on your speed dial, and that should be your first port of call, whatever happens,
Absolutely.
right? And even if you are picking up, say, insurance online, etc., ensure that you're sending them an email. That's the only way this will go.
They should know it in any case and anyway.
How are hospitals taking this? I'm sure the work for them is also now increased. A lot of back-end work will happen. Has that already happened across hospitals? What's the feedback that you're picking up?
So, first look at some numbers. So, in India, as of this moment, we have around 70,000 hospitals which are registered with different state authorities and central authorities. As of now, what we are understanding, this very notification came into effect on 24th of January. So, what happens now is around 36,000 hospitals are already on board. And the rest, the organization, the different insurance company and the GIC says that they are in actually talks with other hospital to get on board. Yes, it's a tedious task for the hospital, but if we look at from a business perspective also, it is actually very good for the insurance company and both for the hospitals, because now if a person is getting a treatment at a hospital, they don't need to actually think about, oh, what will I do in case I land up there. In fact, if my bill is beyond my pocket, so they don't need to worry about that. So basically the insurance company will get more business and the hospitals will, on the other hand, will get a settlement on time.
Right. So we hope that this is actually happening. In fact, let's do a quick check. Let's ask all our viewers to sort of send us questions. Our Twitter handles, etc., are all scrolling on your screen as well. So if you go to the hospital and you feel that something is not in sync with what has been designed by the government, etc., please do write into us, and we'll sort of look into it and see how and sort of give feedback to hospitals and governments as well. Because this is such an important sort of initiative. We really hope this will change the lives of so many more. So thanks, Yash, for joining us and bringing us all these details.
Most welcome, Sobhan.